very warm welcome to all the viewers of Ticker Market. So in today's market interaction, we have a very special guest. He is not only a veteran in this industry, he is having 25 years of experience in investments and he is a champion in identifying multi-baggers. Let me introduce you to Mr. Sunil Shah, portfolio manager, fund manager of Turtle Star. Sunil,
Thanks.
welcome on Ticker Markets. So first of all, Ticker Markets is wishing you congratulations on starting this new initiative. The theme which you have launched is portfolio management, and your company's name is Turtle Star. So how did you come out with this concept? If you can just elaborate on that.
Yeah, so turtle is an amphibian which survives even in water and it survives even on land. So we thought of turtle as one which can survive in all times, and even in markets when there is bull market as well as bear markets, you need to survive
Sure.
those times. So that is why we thought of turtle to start off with.
Sure.
Again, turtle is one which is actually slow but steady. It is an amphibian which has got very long life. That has been the essence of our portfolio management, and we thought let us have something which is by the name of turtle. Star is something which really shines when there is darkness around. So if there is maximum darkness, that is when the stars are visible. And even in our markets, when there is a bad time and there is a gloomy time and there is darkness all around, we thought let us have that also in our part of our name. So we started calling ourselves as Turtle Star.
So what do you intend to achieve from this?
So I think in the financial world, there is genuinely a vacuum of honest money generator for you.
Sure.
So in finance world, you have one person who is advising,
Right.
namely the broker or somebody.
True.
And his revenues are linked more to the churn of the portfolio. Whereas the investor actually makes money if his portfolio is not churned.
Right.
So we wanted to fill in that gap of being an honest money generator or money creator or money multiplier for the investor, and that is why we thought our PMS will have a lot of room.
Sure.
Because the way in which we want to charge also as our fees will be purely on profits. That also is a nominal 15% only when we book the
That is
profit.
only after generating profits.
Only after you book
Perfect.
the profit.
All right.
That's what we are
But that's the other way around in other PMS services.
Yeah, meaning many of them they have time duration. So every quarter they take some fees or something.
Got it.
Which we don't want to do. So
Perfect. So moving on, if you're talking about Indian markets and road ahead, so there is a big hiccup which is coming from the global markets. So what do you sense is the broader concerns for Indian markets, and if you can just highlight few.
So I think if we are looking at the year which is going to come by, let's say 2019, I think we should ideally break that year into two parts.
Exactly.
So the first few months, that's like let's say from January till May or something, will be driven more by what's happening in the global markets. And to my mind, I think the biggest thing which is happening in the global market is we are going through a phase of deleveraging.
Perfect.
So 2008 till 2015, money was printed and the world was flooded with liquidity. Now we are going through a phase where actually money is getting withdrawn from the economy worldwide. And so we are seeing a phase of volatility in the global markets. That trend to my mind is likely to continue at least to start with for the first 4-5 months, and our market in tandem will also behave by what is happening overseas.
So basically, this is nothing to do with the big event election which is lined up in May. This is in sync with the global markets, whatever is happening in the global markets.
Yeah. So at least for the first few months, we'll see that situation of deleveraging. So deleveraging is the root cause, but what we hear is that it's a trade war or it's within the Trump and the Chinese administration or a lot of protectionism measures being adopted. Brexit could be one such thing. But those are all reasons. The underlying force is that money is getting out of the economy of the world, and so there is this concern in the world right now.
Perfect. As time we are talking about the global markets and concerns road ahead. If we talk about India per se, what do you think are the top 3 concerns that can derail the big expectation? As you already highlighted that 2000 calendar year 2019, you have to break it in 2 parts. First half, as you said, that will be aligned to the global markets and how the global markets move, and the Indian markets will replicate or mirror what's going on in the global markets. What do you sense will be the broader outcome of the politics on Indian markets, outlook on Indian 2019 equities, and which sectors will do well, if you can just highlight that?
Wow, so that's a long question. I'll try and simplify it in as much as a simple way as possible. So, to my mind, I think the event of May election is going to be one big thing. And clearly, if there is one political party coming with a big majority, market will give a huge thumbs up.
True.
So the reforms process will continue, and there will be euphoria all around. And if there is a single party, whether it's BJP or Congress, but a clear majority is something which will be highly appreciated by the market.
All right.
So that's scenario one.
So you're talking about absolute majority first.
Absolute majority for any one of the party. I think markets will really love it. That's one part. That's one scenario. Maybe the probability of that event is going to be meager, but that's one such situation. The second can be that one party gets a huge number of seats, just falling short of majority, and there are few coalition partners which are required. Then also in that case, it will be a comfortable situation for the market.
True.
The third, which market would really fear, would be a hung parliament or a coalition of about 20 to 23 political parties.
That is absolutely not the market
Exactly.
will be looking
so
at.
that's a period when we had somewhere around 97, 98, where in a span of just about 15 months there was a change of 3 prime ministership of our country, and that is something which the market will not love. So the reforms at that point in time will take a backseat, because convincing all political parties onto a common requirement for a nation will not happen, and that is what market will not like.
True.
So there is this very interesting book written by Howard Marks, Mastering the Market Cycle, and I would suggest everybody to read it. But just the gist of that book says that you have to understand where you are in the market. So market is going through which cycle is very important.
True.
So in the calendar of 2019, market will go through 2-3 important things. One being the global situation, one being the outcome of our elections
in May.
and third could be the interest rates domestically.
Right.
So in 2018, the fear was that interest rates in India were rising. Now with the changing guard of the RBI governor, I think that fear is behind us.
Exactly.
So if the interest rates are unlikely to rise further in 2019, that will give a big cushion for liquidity to get attracted to the equity market.
Since you were talking about RBI governor in October 2018, as we are talking, so there were broadly 2 concerns for Indian markets, domestic reasons. One was the rising crude prices, which was supposedly to be touching 100, and a hawkish RBI governor.
Right.
So this has actually turned out to be an advantage to both. Crude is off ice, and we have a changed RBI governor as well. Mr. Das is already is the RBI governor now. So what do you think in terms of reforms? What else is required so that this broader concern of liquidity is eased?
Yeah. So I think the most important thing from the banking system would be further to strengthen the IBC.
All right.
The bankruptcy code is something which is really one of the biggest reform, I think from 91 onwards. If I have to shortlist the top 5 reforms, IBC would be one of them. Now what has happened in IBC is that if an asset or a promoter is defaulting, the asset ownership shifts to the bank, and there can be an auction, and the liquidation process is very smooth now.
Perfect.
So when we are talking about 12.5 lakh crores of NPA in our country, only about 125 accounts account for about 7.5 lakh crores.
True.
So whether if you want to name SR, you want to name Jayaprakash, you want to name Kingfisher Airlines, and now we are hearing the promoters are coming on the table and saying that
कि पैसा ले लो.
Please take my money, spare me and take my money, which has never happened in our history, and that's the biggest reform. So if the process is fastened, more reforms are done in terms of appointing the right judiciary people.
True.
Then we'll see actual credit offtake happen in the banking system.
Perfect.
And country reviving and job creation and employment and all of that.
Since you're talking about NPAs, I have known you for years, and this is not the first time which we are interacting. We have interacted more than 6-7 times in the past 3 to 4 years. So you were never bullish on banks, and one of the broader concern you always had was the NPA thing, because of the spreads or maybe some of the other reasons. So if you can highlight will banks as a sector can be an opportunity for retail investors to be in 2019 second half or first half?
Yeah, so banking sector is now on the reforms process.
Right.
So the thing which was plaguing the entire sector was the NCLT, which was not there.
True.
Now the action is happening and assets are getting sold.
Perfect.
But again, we have to be choosy in terms of what we are buying. So my recommendation or thought would be to look at an Axis Bank.
All right.
Axis Bank is someone which has got a huge corporate book, and now we have right person at the helm managing the entire thing. So Mr. Amitabh Chaudhary, who has now come in shoes of Shikhar Sharma, is doing an extremely strong job there in terms of really putting the bank in real shape. And that is one such bank which has really not appreciated like any other private sector bank. So most of the
Perfect.
private sector banks have done very, very good in the bad time for the banking sector. This is one which has been a laggard. And now you have one gentleman driving things for profitability, working towards reducing the NPAs and all of it. So I think
Superb.
this is one bank which has got a lot of steam, and we are betting now not on Axis Bank per se, but we are betting on the management quality of HDFC, which is now in the shoes of Axis Bank.
Superb.
So I think market has always rewarded HDFC Bank and any of its companies significantly. So if you want to capitalize on that opportunity, I think we should now look at Axis Bank as one such in the banking sector.
Superb.
I think one more in the NBFC space can be a Manappuram Finance. So in the gold loan business, the beauty lies in terms of the spreads they enjoy.
Sure.
So the lending happens at a rate of about 25%, and the borrowing is at about 19%. So the spreads they enjoy are
Borrowing is around 9%.
9%. And this, so the spreads they enjoy are something around 15 to 16%.
Exactly.
Which is very healthy, and I think none of the banks enjoy those kind of spreads. The NPA which happens in the bank is generally because the valuation of the assets which are there with them are somewhere dubious.
Perfect.
So if the plant machinery or something is valued at an X price and the loan is given, then when you actually go to sell the asset,
When the underlying asset is gold, then you need not have to worry about it. So this is the reason why you are betting it.
that's the right point which you mentioned. So
Perfect.
that's why I think Manappuram can be a good bet.
All right.
So that's one which I like, along with Axis Bank in the banking NBFC.
Sure. So what, as you have already spoken about Axis because of the corporate book, so are you betting upon all those banks who are having a strong corporate book per se?
So as I stated, I'm looking at opportunities where there is change of guard
All right.
and overall macro is changing.
Sure. So Axis and Manappuram is the two to identify. All right. Moving on, is there any other opportunity you feel that retail investors should capitalize going forward?
So to my mind, auto ancillary can be one very interesting space, and I have always loved it for many years. When I run my screeners and I see the cash flow which is being generated by the sector.
It will be a rapid fire question. So maybe Nifty in 2019, what do you think? Which level? Maybe 12,000 or maybe 9,000 first. So 12,000 you're optimistic or not?
I am hopeful and wishful.
Interest rate from here on?
Will be flat, will not go up.
And how much
In the domestic market.
will your portfolio give returns?